You have a very important job that you're doing right now. And I think there's a tendency for you and maybe others around you to discount it and not see the internal work and the energetic work, the spiritual work as effective or supportive to the world around you. There's a tendency to see this type of work as frivolous or unnecessary, or coming from this place of being removed, thinking you're better than, privilege. And while yes, it does take a certain amount of privilege and safety to be able to do this work right now, it doesn't mean that it's not important. What you are being called to is important right now. And before I get any further, I just want to say that this message is not for everyone. But if you were called to watch this video, it's because you have a very, very important role to play in the shift of consciousness that is happening right now. What everyone's talking about, going from 3D to 5D, the new earth. Even if you don't resonate with those terms, you can't deny that there's a feeling that everything is about to change. And with that, there can come so much fear. And with that fear can come fear-mongering and people wanting you to be more in touch with reality, more in touch with the 3D, what's going on, and to turn your attention to all of the problems. And I'm not saying that we should ignore the issues that are going on in this world. However, it is up to you to understand where you are called to lead and serve right now. For some people, their true calling is to be an activist, to be very rooted in the 3D, looking at the systems that are in place and trying to change them. And for others, we understand that that work is important, but also the inner work is important. Because what led to the pain and hurt that exists in this world, to all of the war and the dysfunction that exists today? It all started from somebody being at war within themselves, having a dysfunctional perception, a fear-based programming, a judgment within themselves, pain within themselves that got projected onto another. And then that pain got projected onto another, and so forth. A domino effect happened of one person's pain leading to projection of that pain, creating more pain in the world, creating more trauma in the world. And so if you're being called right now to tune out the noise around you and go inward, you're being called to that for a very important reason. And you are valid in what you feel. Trust your intuition right now. Your work is important. Your mission is important. And most importantly, it is making a difference. Just because you're not out there actively battling the current systems and the things that you think are wrong about this world doesn't mean that you don't care. And it doesn't mean that you're just kind of giving up on the world around you and trying to dissociate and disconnect. There's a difference between dissociating and disconnecting from what is going on in this physical world versus observing it and understanding where your energy is best spent. If it is draining and depleting for you to constantly be turned towards this physical reality the way that it is right now, to constantly be involved in these conversations online or in groups of people, if you're feeling drained by talking about what's currently going on in the world, it's because your energy could be of better use turning inward, because you understand that this reality is a reflection of collectively our inner worlds, our inner unaddressed traumas, our pain, our suffering that we have not yet realized that we have the ability to heal internally. So you right now feeling called to tune out the noise and tune into yourself and nurture yourself and take care of yourself and feel deeply. Allow whatever is coming up to come up and give yourself time to nurture you instead of being so plugged into everything else that's going on in the world. I promise you it is making a much bigger impact than you think. So at this time, anyone that tries to loop you into a fear-based way of thinking, understand that it is your role to set boundaries and to remain devoted to what your post is at this time. And if you are here watching it, it is likely that your post is to learn how to heal yourself first before you go out and heal the world. The coolest part about all of this is that something I've realized lately is that we tend to overcomplicate. What does healing look like? Do I have to do shadow work? Do I have to do this? Journal, meditate, this, that? And yes, if any of those call to you, absolutely. But truly the only thing that we need to do to heal is deeply presence ourselves in our experience, validate what we're feeling. Because whenever we spend our time trying to convince somebody else in the world to see our perspective, to hear us, to believe us, to validate us, which is often what is going on in this world, is we're trying to get people to understand our needs and what we want. And when they don't understand, we use force or we judge them. But truthfully, whenever we're trying to get somebody else to understand us, it's because there is a part of us that does not feel heard and validated within ourselves. We have the power to tune into ourselves and validate our experiences. And the more we can validate our own experiences, the more relieved we feel, the more whole we feel, the more connected we feel, the greater our ability is to hold the perspectives of others, right? So when you feel validated in your truth and the pain that you experienced and the beliefs that you hold, and when you honor those and trust yourself and hold space for yourself and create harmony within, when you hear a conflicting opinion or when you're faced with something that contrasts your beliefs, your ego doesn't take over and try to defend you as much, but you're able to listen. We're able to understand that in this world, every single human has had a completely different experience, has had a completely different soul history, upbringing, has a completely different purpose. And we're able to hold space for the fact that multiple truths can exist at the same time, and we can allow those truths to simultaneously exist without needing one to be right and one to be wrong. And that's the shift that we're expanding out of right now. This right or wrong, black or white mentality, this us versus them, our entire country being split in half and people thinking that they're right and they know better and the other side is wrong or stupid. This is the issue where we're all so focused on making the other person the enemy that we don't see that the work that needs to be done is internal first, so that we can then hold multiple perspectives at once and find a solution that is of a higher consciousness, of a higher vibration. We do not have access to these solutions right now because collectively we haven't started to vibrate at that level. But as we do start to vibrate at that level, as we do start to heal, validate ourselves, and expand our hearts, expand our minds, we open ourselves up to receiving divine guidance on how we can heal and move forward in union with ourselves first and therefore collectively. So if you are called right now to tune out the drama, to stop fighting, to stop arguing, and to really focus on yourself and go inward, but you're experiencing maybe some guilt or self-judgment around where you feel called, I hope that this validates you and lets you know that your role is so much more important than you realize, so much more important than others around you realize, and it's okay if it triggers people. You choosing yourself will trigger people who have not chosen themselves yet, and that's okay. It could be a catalyst to show them what is possible when you do choose yourself, or it could be a catalyst to take space from that person in your life so that you can heal. I think there's a time and a place to actively put yourself out there. It's not that we shouldn't be connected to the world around us, be connected to the 3D or aware of the matrix. But When we are too sucked into that energy, we don't stand a chance at strengthening this new vibration within us, at strengthening this new level of consciousness, at really anchoring in this healing. The way that I see it, it's like we are newborn babies when it comes to this energy. And so we are sensitive and we need to protect ourselves. But as we nurture ourselves more, we grow stronger and we're able to be these adults that are going out in the world with this awareness that when we experience something that triggers us, that trigger is just a catalyst for our growth. It's telling us, oh, okay, I have this wound still within me. If I'm so easily triggered by this person outside of me, by this energy of the matrix of the 3D world, then it's because there's something within me that I need to take a look at, that I need to understand, love more, heal. And so you have to be discerning with when you are in that newborn baby stage where you need to kind of shut out what triggers you so that you can deal with all the triggers that you've already had in your life. Because let's face it, being in this world is not easy. You've likely experienced so much trauma and pain and suffering so far in your life. And sometimes we need to go in our cocoon and devote ourselves to healing from that, creating safety and stability and love within ourselves from all of that pain before we can go out and let ourselves actively be constantly triggered again, being around family or whoever it is that triggers you. It's kind of just like poking a wound that hasn't healed yet when we do that. But when the wound has started to heal, we can actively go out and expose ourselves to that again and learn from it and understand it and bridge the gap, because it's not that we are better than anyone who is still in that 3D mindset, who is still very involved in the matrix in that way. It is just a difference in our soul paths and what we're here to do. And so the way that we can bridge that gap, instead of creating again an us versus them, 5D versus 3D, it's like extending your hand. All are welcome here. I want to speak to you. I want to know you. I want us to unify. That is the consciousness that we're anchoring in right now. And your role in this is so important. So honor that. The last thing I want to say is do not let fear take over. I have a feeling, as do many people, that there will be a lot of really big shifts in the next year, the next several years, and there could be crumblings of certain systems or certain things that we're used to just kind of being in place forever. There will be big shifts. There will be a death of the old to make space for the new. And when things are unknown, when there's a lot of changes happening, it can evoke a fear response within humanity. Your job is to not allow that fear to take over. The way that we allow fear to be processed through us and not control us is to simply witness it, witness where it is coming from, and trust that that death of the old system, of all the old, needs to happen in order to invite in something new. And even if it looks scary, even if it looks like everything you once knew was crumbling, your challenge right now is to be so rooted in your faith that you know it is all happening for the highest good of humanity, and to anchor that in and to hold that. We need people like you to hold that. We're holding it together. And when that fear comes up in your body, don't fight against it. Don't say, oh no, I shouldn't be afraid. I can't feel that. Somebody who is truly fearless can allow fear to be present, observe it, and know that it is illusion. It is not real. Allow the emotions that come with that fear to be there. Be a safe vessel for the fear to move through you. Witness it, observe it, and see it through the eyes of love. Send that energy, love, and send it back to source. And you don't have to do anything to fight against it. Let the fear be there. Let it process through you. Call on that presence of unconditional love within you. Surround yourself with love as the fear shows up. And I promise you, it will not be there for long when you presence it in that way. You will transmute it because you know how to do that. At this point, you know how to transmute. You know that when you bring unconditional love to anything that you're feeling, it transforms into pure love. It has no power over you anymore, and you are free. So I hope you found this video comforting. I hope you trust yourself, and let me be the one to say thank you for the work that you're doing. I know it goes unnoticed, and I know you might feel like a lot of this work is you laying in bed and meditating and holding yourself and doing things that are seemingly unproductive in that old model of productivity that we were conditioned with. But I promise you that the rest that you're taking right now, the energy that you're allowing to move through you, the upgrades that you're receiving, the exhaustion that you feel from doing all of this energetic work, it is making a difference. Your soul knows what it's doing. So thank you so much for continuing to trust, continuing to believe in yourself, in your path, continuing to listen to your soul guidance, even when there's noise around you trying to suck you into fear-based thinking, black or white, we versus them. Thank you for remaining true to your path, because you are actively helping the entire world by doing what you're doing right now. Thank you so, so much for being here on my channel. I'm so grateful to be connecting with you at this time. I would absolutely love to hear if this resonated with you in the comments. I know I personally have been really needing to be in a little bit of a cocoon. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm open to listening, but anytime I feel like I'm giving too much and depleting myself by trying to take in too much of what is going on, I've realized that that is a disservice to me, to humanity, and that I need to really have very strong boundaries with my time and my energy right now, and to trust what I'm getting around this, because we need to be validating ourselves at this time, because we might not really know what's going on intellectually in our minds, but our souls do know. So I'm right there with you. I would love to hear in the comments if you're going through the same thing, realizations that you're having at this time. And thank you so, so much for all of your likes, your subscribes, any way that you support me on this channel. I'm so incredibly grateful for, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.